It's time to talk marketing. In a time
Yes.
of an oversupply of games, you need to think marketing right from the start. It is one of the
Uh-huh.
core pillars of game development. How do you get yourself in front of an audience and potentially also a publisher? How do you stick out? So Kate from PlayIndies will walk you through some crucial core concepts. Kate, the stage is yours.
Hi. Well, before I get started, because I'm the last speaker for the day, I want some hype in chat for Yen, Sav, everyone on the IGEA team, all the background stuff putting this on has been a lot. So thank you for putting this on and inviting me. And I'll take any opportunity to talk about marketing stuff. So I'm very happy to dive in. Yes, you can tell I'm a
Thank
Twitch
you.
streamer. Hype in chat. Let's go.
No,
Okay.
we did do the dry run. Just wanted to stress that
We
again.
did.
Right? Sorry for
Yes.
the slight little bump at the beginning, but we yeah. Anyway,
Good.
Kate,
Yeah.
all over to you.
Everything's been great. Yeah. Okay. So hi, I'm Kate. I'm originally from Canada, but now I live permanently in Perth. So Perth represents. I'm one of the few marketing people on this side of Australia. And hi, Raylene, I see you in here too. But yeah, so the importance of marketing. So it's interesting title for this talk because yes, I'm talking about the importance of marketing, but I'm also just going to be giving you some insights, tips, best practices, resources on how to market your game. Marketing can sound like a really scary, daunting thing. A lot of devs, especially new devs or people considering becoming devs, typically have a consumer level knowledge of the games industry, and so marketing sounds like a big scary thing, or sounds like something like, oh yeah, you just post on social media, right? That's marketing. So I'm going to be going through a lot of slides quickly, and my goal is to have a lot of time at the end for questions because I'm sure there'll be plenty. So my goal today is just to walk through this and give you a stronger understanding of like an overview and basic concepts and best practices of marketing. And at the end, I have a fancy QR code and link with some resources and templates that I use in my day-to-day that you can use immediately. So please do so. And last but not least, if you missed Joe's talk earlier, or if you're listening to this as a recording, please listen to Joe's talk. His talk is a perfect like hand-in-hand talk with mine. Loved that he mentioned SWOT analysis, market research, target audience. You need all of that to do what I'm about to talk about. So great talk from Joe from the 3000s earlier. Make sure you listen to his as well. All right, let's dive in. So before we get into it, who am I? So I'm a senior level video game marketing and PR gremlin. That's an official real title that I've given myself. Meg's talk earlier gave me inspiration to add my cat to the slide. So this is Navi, my marketing assistant. Yes, very important to include her. She's usually always in my general vicinity. My background, I've worked at not one, but two award-winning PR agencies across nearly 100 game campaigns in the last 5 years. Do the math and understand how tired I am, but I love what I do. Being very agile, hopping between projects, working in projects simultaneously. It's just a lot of go, go, go. So I've seen good projects, failing projects, everything in between, from early stages of coming up with a name for a game to working on games that are several years post-launch and still putting out DLC and updates and keeping audiences engaged. So I've done and seen everything. Currently, I am no longer working for an agency. I'm actually working for myself. I'm doing freelance and consulting for indies while starting up my own marketing company called PlayIndies. And in all of the free time I have, I also run Level Her Up, a not-for-profit organization offering beginner game dev workshops for women and non-binary individuals. A lot of stuff going on. So here's just a quick snapshot of just some of the games I've worked on in the last 5-6 years. This is less than half of them. I couldn't fit more logos on the slide. So just to make it clear, I've done marketing for like every genre you can think of, from solo dev teams to teams of hundreds of people across the globe with varying degrees of success. And like I said, early stage, pre-production, pre-launch, launch, post-launch, all of it. And despite each of these games being its own unique marketing puzzle to solve, there are some core marketing tactics and strategies that apply to any game campaign. And those are the topics I'm focusing on today. So first, why does marketing matter? Well, you can make the best game in the universe. It's chef kiss, perfect, impeccable. If nobody knows about it, nobody's buying or playing your game. That is the nutshell of why marketing matters. Why is it so important? If you build it, they will come. No, wrong. No, you build it, you yell at people about it, and eventually you'll drag them and then they'll buy the game. Great games fail quietly all the time. And just on Steam alone, like thousands of games launch every year, like over 15,000 a game just on Steam. That's not including mobile games, console games. It's a lot. And I mentioned Steam because as a new dev, indie dev, first-time dev, Steam is commonly the most popular platform to launch on because it's just easy access to launch a game on there compared to some of the hoops and you have to jump through for console launches. So marketing helps your game stand out and connect with your audience. And like I said, if players don't hear about your game, they can't play it. That's why marketing matters. So what is marketing? Like I said, when I tell people, oh yeah, I'm a marketing gremlin, they're like, oh, so social media. I'm like, yeah, that's one piece of the puzzle. And just use the puzzle analogy. I mentioned marketing as like an intricate jigsaw puzzle with pieces that are often moving, changing, or sometimes even missing. And it can seem overwhelming, but the basic concept of fitting the right pieces together remains consistent. Marketing's not actually that hard. It's very time consuming, but not hard. So just finding the right puzzle pieces to use at the right time is the challenge. Anyone can market a game, even you, even me. And it's just very clearly, marketing touches every part of development, like initial game design. Like day one, you sit down, you're thinking about a concept for a game, you should already be thinking about marketing. Joe talked about that in his talk. Please go listen to it if you haven't yet. But yeah, just every aspect of game development, marketing is also involved in. So know your game, know your player. Again, Joe's talk touched on this. I'm going to be very quick on this slide. So 3 key things to consider is what makes your game special. Know the niche that you're filling or the problem you're solving. Give players a reason to care about your game compared to all of these other games that are launching at the same time. Understand who's going to love this game and what else do they currently play. Understanding who you're making your game for is one of the most important things to figure out in the initial game design process. Creating a game with players and marketing in mind is a recipe for success. Understanding what your audience is currently playing and how they play, whether they're casual, hardcore, they prefer console games, PC games, etc. All of that should be considered when designing a game idea. And last but not least, how will they find out about your game? So where do your players spend most of their time? Where do they consume content? Where are they most likely to see you talking about your game? You want to make and post promotional content where they're likely to consume it. And if you say a simple phrase like, I'm making a puzzle platformer inspired by Portal, that's marketing. You're already marketing. Look at you go. It's that simple. Attention spans are short, and social media is just a black hole of negativity at the moment, but it is still one of the most important and direct ways to reach an audience. So post content that immediately grabs attention. You need to post early in development, post often, keep it real and engage with people. Don't just post on your feed and yell into the void. Actually engage, respond, ask questions in your posts, collaborate with other devs, like just be active, be just like a normal human on social media, replying to things, posting things. Show gameplay in the first 1 to 2 seconds. Attention spans are non-existent, so immediately get to the gameplay. Don't show your logo first, no matter how pretty and gorgeous it is. You can have that in the corner or at the end of a gameplay clip, but show gameplay immediately. And keep it short, like 15 seconds, and focus on showing, not telling. Don't have a whole bunch of text in your visual asset describing what your game is. Just show them with the gameplay. And always include a call to action. Wishlist now, play the demo, check out the beta. Tried and true age-old marketing strategy is you need to tell consumers what they need to do, what they want, and how to do it. So always have a call to action in everything you post. I'm going to give you some very quick-fire tips on how to use social media platforms effectively. So bear with me. I'm intentionally going through this quickly. You're going to have all these slides afterwards and the recording. So it's a lot. Okay, so for TikTok, you want to hook fast and show gameplay first. Use trending sounds if it's relevant for your game and content. Add dev reactions or voiceovers for a personal touch and keep it raw and real. Don't worry about spending hours polishing an asset for TikTok. Just get a whole bunch of spaghetti, throw it at the wall, and some of these videos you make might stick, some might not. Some of the lowest effort assets I've made have actually gotten the most views on TikTok. So just get stuff out there. Twitter and Facebook. So post short visual updates. Ideally use GIFs or short clips, some sort of moving asset under 15 seconds long. Use a clear message or caption, including a call to action, and make sure you reply to comments and engage with others. Ask a question in the caption that drives engagement and helps the algorithms help other people see your content. Just engage. Instagram, lean into the visuals and behind the scenes content. Instagram Reels are currently very strong and popular. So share gameplay, time lapses of development, visual things, concept arts, character reveals, mood boards, and stories are also great for dev progress updates and keeping your audience engaged. YouTube, mix short and long form content. YouTube Shorts are actually one of the strongest social media visibility tools right now. The YouTube algorithm is fantastic. If you're not posting on YouTube Shorts, do so. And similar to like TikTok, don't worry about highly edited, like fancy videos. Just get stuff on there. Treat it like you can just use the same TikTok content for YouTube Shorts, really. Post the same content across the platforms. But yeah, show quick gameplay loops. For longer content, you can show full trailers, devlogs, and like narrated feature spotlights, like dev commentary videos talking about specific development or gameplay, core mechanics, stuff like that. And include clear titles and custom thumbnails. You need good thumbnails on YouTube. Reddit. Be a human, not a billboard. Reddit is ruthless. If you're blatantly promoting your game, you're going to get downvoted into oblivion. So just, casually share work in progress posts. Talk about your dev struggles, ask for feedback, give feedback to people, build up your Reddit karma, improve your reputation on the platform, and make sure you always follow subreddit rules. Don't spam links or promote in places you're not supposed to. It's not a good look for you or your game. Okay, that was the platform-specific stuff. I know it's a lot. Last but not least, build a community. Create a Discord. Even if you have like a single player game, multiplayer game, doesn't matter. Always create a Discord. Invite people, even if it's just 10 of your friends. Ask for feedback. This is a great place to share progress, to talk with players, not just at them like you would on social media, making posts on the feed. Like have actual conversations. And start your audience with people who already support you. So like I said, get your friends in there, family in there, your neighbor, your cat, make them a Discord account. Just get people in there and talking and share stuff. And last but not least, and Joe mentioned this as well, gather emails. Don't rely purely on social media. Gather emails via forum, gather emails at events as early as possible, even before you have a Discord up, even before you have a store page up, gather emails. Social media is very unreliable, and a solid email list can go a long way in bringing in early waves of wish lists and Discord members when you publish your store page or launch a Discord server. So gather emails. And I know it sounds like a millennial thing to say and it's super outdated, yada, yada, yada. Emails are coming back. Emails are popular again. Gather emails. Media relations. So the media landscape is difficult. There's a lot of outlets just straight up closing. There's mass layoffs, but it is still valuable to include media relations in your marketing strategy to secure coverage. We're talking previews, trailer shares, reviews, features, guides, interviews, and anything in between. To find media that and outlets that are relevant for you and your game, just determine 3 similar games to yours. And look, for if you're if Portal, for example, is a similar game, Portal review, and look who reviewed Portal, and then try to find contact information for that person, and reach out to them. If you can't find their direct contact info, or if they're no longer there, look for the outlet's general contact info. A lot of them do have a contact page with a general press@outlet.com email. Give it a try. Send out that email, and when you do reach out, make sure you personalize your outreach. Specifically mention, hey, I saw that you reviewed Portal. I think you'd really like my game because it has this specific mechanic that you complained about in your review for this game. Personalize it. It's time consuming, but it does help. It's worth it. Media get so many emails. And if you have a budget and you want to save some time, hire a PR agency to do media relations for you, or use a service like Press Engine, which is fantastic and very user-friendly. It's great for key distribution and sending out press releases. It does cost money. Creator relations. So in this day and age, content creators are currently one of the most impactful ways to get visibility for your game. Because of this, creators, similar to media, their inboxes are flooded with emails and offers and game keys. So it's important to find the right creators to reach out to, the ones who would be most interested in your game, the one that would care the most. There's a lot of variety creators out there, and those are the ones that get hit up with the most emails. You want to find the niche creators who specifically play your type of game and reach out to them. If you can't find their email, then slide into their DMs on social media. Try to get their attention. And if you can, always offer game key or demo key, some sort of gameplay opportunity in your outreach to them. There's not much of a point of reaching out to a content creator if there's nothing for them to play or make content on. So make sure there's some sort of gameplay opportunity that you're offering them and give them access in that first email. Make sure you have your list organized. In one of the resources I give you, I actually have the template for the creator list I've used across hundreds of campaigns. So you'll be able to use that spreadsheet for your own campaign. But yeah, you can find their emails on their YouTube, Twitch channel, whatever, or usually in their social media bios. And if you can't find an email and their DMs are closed, I guess it's just not meant to be. That unfortunately does happen quite often. Similar to media, personalize your outreach. Reference similar games they've played. I saw that you played Portal. I think you really enjoy my game because I have this and this and that mechanic. Really personalize it. It does go a long way. And keep emails very short, concise, to the point. They don't need a paragraph on who you are, what your studio is about. Just very simple, hey, I have this game. I think you'll like it because of this reason. Here's the key. Thanks for considering playing the game. That's all it needs to be. Some free tools to find Twitch streamers. I use Solinome all the time. It's connected to the Twitch API, and it has data, analytics, stats, and shows what games people have played. And I use Social Blade specifically for finding actual stats for YouTube and TikTok. It's not so good at finding specific channels, but it gives me data on expected viewership from those channels. Some paid services to consider for helping with creator relations is PlayIndies, Keymailer, Lurkit, or PR agencies, or just directly with talent agencies that work with creators. Small budget, big impact. So most of the games I've worked on have had little to no budget. I have worked on some games with huge 6-figure marketing budgets, and it's been fun and fantastic and great. But I'm primarily focused on indie games, so I know how to be really scrappy. And there are lots of free and cheap ways and strategies to get some marketing out for your game, getting visibility, attention, traction, wish lists. It's free to build a community, to post social media content, reaching out to creators and collaborating with them, getting offering them game keys, getting them to play the game, submitting to relevant events and showcases, and cross promoting with other games. All ships rise together. So if there's a similar game or someone in your local community, or just reach out to them and, hey, both of our games are a puzzle platformer like Portal. Let's cross promote each other here, and that's totally okay. Some free tools and resources. So Canva is great for graphics and social media assets. OBS is great for capturing video, recorded gameplay. Itch.io is great for doing early play tests and demos before you even have a Steam page up. It's great to get early feedback through Itch. You can also post devlogs on there. And then, of course, I'm sure you've all heard of it, How to Market a Game with Chris Stokowski. He has some fantastic insights and data on how to market a game. And don't be afraid to use other games' marketing strategies for inspiration. I do it all the time across all the campaigns I do. If it worked for one game, and if I can meld it to work for another game, why not? So don't feel like you need to be totally original and brand new. It's okay to replicate and take inspiration from other marketing campaigns that you've seen. Common mistakes. So waiting until launch to think about marketing is probably one of the biggest ones that I deal with. A lot of clients I have, they're like, hey, I launch next month. Do you have availability to market my game for me? There's not really much I can do at that point, but so make sure you're thinking about marketing very early on. In the road to launch, between 3 to 6 months is when you should really be ramping up marketing efforts. But ideally, do some stuff before that too, though. Don't wait till right before launch. Another mistake is talking to everyone instead of the right players. Yelling out into the void, spraying and praying, throwing spaghetti out there, seeing what sticks. Make sure you're targeted and intentional in your marketing, messaging, and outreach, and you're reaching the right people, so you're not wasting your time or theirs. Ignoring how your game looks in a scroll. So bad thumbnails, unclear titles, especially with like Steam capsule art, like the smaller versions, like all of that needs to look good. And that ties into my next point is an optimized store page. So the visuals, text, tags, not looking good, not being optimized, not being eye-catching. Like I said, 15,000 plus games launching on Steam every year. You need to stand out. Look at similar games to yours. Like let's use City Builder as an example. City Builder capsule art generally has a pretty similar same theme. If you look at a few of them, you'll see what I mean. And that's okay, because if a player comes across your game in a scroll and they see like the tiniest version of your capsule art and it has the elements that a similar city builder has, they're more likely to click on your game because they're like, oh, is this a city builder? I like city builders. So look at other capsule art for similar games, see what they do, and you can optimize it that way. And then launching your store page too early is also problematic. You want to make sure you have solid assets, some sort of video. It's not required by Steam, and using Steam as my example here, but you're not required to have a video. You're required to have some screenshots, capsule art, text, but it's very highly recommended to have even just like a short gameplay focused video up on your store page from day one. It's all about first impressions. Another big mistake is focusing too much on wish list numbers. And there are some big marketing people in the industry that are like, you need 7,000 wish lists or you're not going to succeed. And that is not true. You don't need 7,000 wish lists to succeed or to get onto the popular upcoming lists. It helps, obviously. You want millions of wish lists, obviously. But you can have in the hundreds or thousands of wish lists and still get onto those popular upcoming lists and still have great conversions on launch day. So don't focus too much on wish lists. It's not the be all end all. I've been on Reddit and I've seen devs like in the indie dev forum saying, oh, I only have 3,000 wish lists. I didn't reach the 7,000 threshold. My game's going to fail next week when it launches. And I'm just, no, 3,000 wish lists is amazing. What are you talking about? And that's just one thing. It's all about quality of community and efforts over quantity. So if you have 1,000 super high quality engaged wish lists that are very likely to buy your game when you launch, like you'll have enough sales to land on that popular new trending list. The whole reasoning behind the 7,000 number that you probably may have heard is just the math of expecting between 3 to 10% on the higher end, 30% of wish list converting to sales on launch day, and you need to have at least a few hundred sales on launch day to land in those new and trending lists. But I mean, if you have 500 super engaged wish lists that all or most of them convert on launch day, you're still going to land on those lists without having anything close to 7,000 wish lists. So it's not the be all end all. Don't focus too much on wish lists, please. Don't focus too much on wish lists. And last but not least, no press kit. For media stakeholders, your publisher meetings, content creators, have a press kit. Have some screenshots, have some logos, have your key art in there, have a fact sheet. So like just a one-pager all about your game. Just ready to go that you can link on Google Drive, Dropbox, something super accessible that people can easily grab and see. And final thoughts. So marketing is about connection, not just promotion. Connect people, make them care about your game, make them be advocates for your game. Help. That's the best thing you can do. It's not just about yelling into the void and being focused on money and sales and data and numbers. You really just want to connect with your audience, make them care. You don't need to be an expert in marketing. You just need to start. Like, don't worry about being perfect. And worry about the assets you're making for marketing that they're not good enough. Just get out there and just do it. Treat marketing like game development. Experiment, learn, improve. Throw a spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, and improve upon the parts that are sticking. And just do that over and over and over. And you don't have to go viral. You just need to reach the right people. Making a game is hard. Getting it played is a whole other challenge. So start sharing it now and make people care. Okay. So thank you. So on this slide, there's a QR code, and I also put a link for those that don't like scanning QR codes. And there's my spreadsheet. I have some lists, resources, tools. Like I even have the slides for this presentation already ready to go in this QR code. So yeah, feel free to check it out. Reach out to me. I love talking about marketing. I have a really cute cat. I added that second picture. Thanks, Meg, for the inspiration for adding cats to my slide. And hopefully, I know I went through it super quick. I really hope we have time for a bunch of questions. I see some have been popping up in chat while I've been talking. So, yeah, thanks for listening.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was great. And you're right, there are already a couple of questions in the chat and some really good ones. For example, you mentioned start marketing early and building a community early. But how early is early? Is there such a thing as being too early when doing marketing?
Yeah, no. Like in the early stages, like share your idea or like an early concept art. Like don't put the name of your game out there yet, but just like show some little nuggets of like, hey, and get some feedback. See how people react to it. I believe I forget the name of this game. It's the cozy. What's it called? I had it ready to go for the talk. It's really cozy. Like you just build like a little castle in a cozy field type game. And before they announced the name of their game, they just showed some visual assets. Tiny Glade, thank you, Tiny Glade. They just showed some like assets and concept art and early stage development stuff of like look at, and they did go viral. Like they did really well. And then with just showing some early development, screenshots and footage because it was a really cool concept and it looked good. So never too early. No.
All right, good to know. Another question is, does the type of video content impact view count on different platforms such as TikTok, Shorts, and so on? We've tried posting across Blue Sky, Insta, and TikTok, and our view count on Insta is lower than on TikTok.
Okay, yeah, it definitely changed. It adjusts. And then right now, like, not to get political, the landscape of Twitter is just anything you post on Twitter, no matter how excellent it is probably not going to do great because the algorithm is messed up at the moment. But yeah, the type of video content does impact view count. With platforms like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok, like you want it to be like super like almost like memey, trendy, like very short loop that's super like eye-catching, immediately grabs their attention, because attention spans, like I said, are just non-existent. Whereas something on like Facebook, you could do like a little bit longer of video. People who use Facebook are less, about quickly scrolling through to the next video like you would do on TikTok. So yeah, just focus on giving that hook immediately on some of those platforms.
Excellent, thank you. Lex is asking, what if you believe you have an untapped market? What should be the first step? And also, what if your videos don't get any views or comments? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the
Cry.
disappointment?
Okay, but yeah, to answer the first
Don't do
question,
that.
the untapped market. Yeah, it's tough. It's so I've done it where like I've fully like redone a whole Steam page because the previous messaging, key art, images, screenshots weren't resonating. We weren't getting the attention we thought we deserved. So we would switch it up. We would change the illustrated key art for the game, switch up the wording for the game, and keep on adjusting and also adjusting tags like on the back end of Steam with the algorithm and seeing like what improves store traffic, what people resonate with more. And yeah, just keep trying different things, different messaging. There was one game I worked on where it was really marketed as like a, kind of like a cute city builder. But in reality, the game is actually a very challenging city builder that happens to look cute. So when they launched, their marketing team, that wasn't me, they struggled on launch because people bought the game and they got rocked because it was a challenging game. It just happened to look cute. So when they brought me on board post-launch, when they were mixed reviews on Steam, the first thing I did was like, okay, we're changing the key art, we're changing the messaging for this game. We're going to mention that it's challenging first and foremost. And now they're in positive and the game's doing well. So it's just being aware of that and don't be afraid to adjust and switch up your marketing strategy and your messaging for your game until it catches that correct untapped audience. And then the second question was, what if your videos don't get any views or comments? How do you deal with that? Keep posting videos, make different videos, different content, show different things. And it's okay to reuse content. If a video like you posted 3 months ago got no views, maybe just on that certain day, it just didn't happen to land in the algorithm. Try posting it again, reuse it. Maybe you'll get a different result. Just keep posting things and throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks.
Well, yeah, no shame in pivoting. We have another question here. How do you market something text heavy, like visual novels?
Visual novels, yeah, and it's tough, and especially like really short, like linear visual novels where it's like a 2-hour game and like that's it. You don't want to show too much, right? You don't want to spoil the story of the game because what's the point of people buying it? Especially when you're collaborating with content creators and you're getting game keys in their hands. Well, if they do a 2-hour stream and play your whole game, why would anyone need to buy it? Right? So with stuff like that, you need to kind of control how much you're sharing, what you're saying, make it interesting, keep some illusions, some secrets behind the screens. When specifically working with content creators, like either give them a build of the game that's it's a hard cutoff. They can't physically play past a certain point, or ask them to not play past a certain point until after launch or on launch day. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of narrative games and like some really short linear ones, and it's just controlling how much content is shown ahead of the game being launched. Once it's launched and it's out there, there's not much you can do because it's like one person to play through the game and post a video and everyone knows what happened. But pre-launch, you just have some control and hold back some things.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a bit like a movie, right? Like if they show everything in a trailer, you're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Then what's the point? Yeah.
Yeah, what's the point? There's a question here which you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable doing that in a public forum. It's essentially, how much do you charge for your services? That's entirely up to you. The person who's asking this question does have your contact details, which are on the screen. So no pressure. We can move over. But
I don't. Yeah, I don't mind being transparent about this stuff. A lot of people are like, agencies are really quiet and like secretive, and so I'm not going to say specific agency names or anything. But as someone who's worked at a few different agencies, and also for myself, it varies. Sometimes agencies charge like on like an hourly type of basis, but more often you'll get it on like a more project-based basis. And the way they come up with their fees, because there's no like really industry standards. Some agencies are more expensive than others. Because the agencies, they don't talk to each other, because they're all competitors, so they don't want to share that information. But from what I know of working in a few different agencies, they charge based on like the services that they can provide, because some agencies are more full service, some have less services that they're offering, so obviously less services will cost less. Some just will really expensive and will gouge you. But it really comes down to like your budget and what you feel comfortable paying and the experience level of the agency. And specifically the agencies, make sure when you're talking to them and considering working with agencies, like straight up ask them, like if you hire them and you have an account manager working on your game, how many other games are they working on simultaneously? That's a really important question. One of the reasons why I'm no longer at an agency is because I've got burnt out working on 8+ games simultaneously. It's exhausting, and I wasn't able to give each of the clients as much attention as they deserve because I was spread too thin. And that's a very common issue with agencies. It's just a nature of the work. They need a constant flow of customers coming in and going out. So ask those questions. But yeah, there's no set standard fee or price, but it's definitely based on how much they're offering you.
Right. And I should also stand corrected. I asked the question a little bit wrongly. So the question was more, how do you determine the fees as opposed to how much do you actually charge? So
okay,
wanted to clear
okay. Well, I think I still kind of answer that.
Yeah. All right. So you
answered
exactly what the person wanted to know. So that's all good. So thank you very much. Here's a really good one. One thing I love about games is the ability to reach a global audience. Have you found that marketing principles stay the same across regions? How do they shift significantly depending on the market? I think that would warrant its own webinar, but maybe a couple of key insights that you have.
That's a whole talk on itself. So I'm going to specifically mention China as a region. That region, the way you market it and reach out and connect with those players is entirely different than any other region in the world. In fact, like me, because I'm based in Canada. I've worked with clients in like every region of the world, including China. And unless you speak Chinese and you are from China and you have those connections, it's near impossible to market in China. So you basically have to have a Chinese marketing partner that you contract, bring on board to help you out. Just being able to speak the language, but speak directly to that culture is entirely different. I've also had a case where I've worked with a Japanese client, and their game is very anime focused, and like some like niche, more of the niche animes. We're talking about like Dragon Ball or Naruto. We're talking like just more like niche anime games. And my goal was to market it to the Western audience. That's why they hired me. And even though the game itself played well, looked good, was fantastic, it didn't resonate because the client really wanted to focus hard on the anime aspect of the game, which for a Western audience, anime isn't really as big of a thing there as it is in the Japanese market. I tried getting them to focus more on, let's talk about the gameplay and how smooth it is, how fun and engaging it is, and they really wanted to stick with the anime because they had all those the IPs and partnerships with the different things, and it didn't land very well. So it's just keeping things like that in mind. Yeah, regional tastes, cultures. Yeah, you need to be aware of those things, and it's different. The way you would talk to a North American audience is absolutely different than how you would talk to a European or Asian audience.
Yeah, that's right. And it may be worthwhile to even engage a specialist for that region, depending on
Yes,
what your exact agenda is. And to illustrate
absolutely.
this anecdotally, so some of our members, the larger publishers, they have the head offices in Australia, and they have marketing specialists for the neighboring Asian regions. But that's just their focus, right? It's that region, because Indonesia is very different than, say, Malaysia, than Philippines. Very different regional tastes, trends, and things that you may want to jump on. So it's an incredibly interesting topic, because it's also so reflective of different cultures these games are embedded in. But it also means it's really, really complex. So like I said, that would warrant its own webinar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
I do think I saw one earlier on, right at the start.
Well, yes, there's another one coming
yeah,
too.
yeah. So
Ooh,
there's one from
toxicity.
Alex from Bigfoot. I really want to answer this
Oh,
one.
okay. Sorry.
Yeah, don't say. So any tips for context switching, jumping from project to project so quickly? Chaos, Alex, chaos. Yeah, multitasking is definitely a skill. It is really difficult, and this is one of the reasons why I've stepped away from working at formal agencies, because it's tough. But it just comes down to how organized you are, and separating out the task list for different things, and prioritizing between deadlines and dates. And it's a lot. It's exhausting. Like, that's the main reason why I was so burnt out. It was just a lot to juggle and manage and remember and stay on top of things. And if one of the games I'm working on is a roguelike deck builder, and the other one's like a super scary like horror game, and then the third one's like a super cozy, cute little game about bunnies. Like, it's the context of like the marketing strategy and just like the vibe and tone of the games are so different. It is difficult to switch between them, but I have no secret formula. You just have, as a marketing person, you just have to switch between them. So stepping away from a computer helps. Taking a sip of water, just giving my head a shake, and like, okay, now I'm working on the cute bunny game, not the gory horror game. Ugh. And yeah, it's just a lot of managing and project stuff.
Yeah, don't confuse between those two.
I worked on Super Hot and Super Liminal at the same time, and all of my tabs said Super at the beginning, and I'm like, oh, which tab is for which game? That was a headache. Two very different games.
Mediocre Hot would have helped, although I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
stop the dad jokes. Stuart is asking, when it comes to marketing, what advice would you have dealing with toxicity? Twitter being a case in point. It's a great example of toxicity. Well, great in inverted commas of toxicity nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, and honestly, as a dev, as a marketing person, like, don't engage with it. Like, of course, if it becomes like a really prominent issue and like it's constant and nonstop, and because it's something directly related to your game, yes, address it. But if it's just general toxicity and people being unhappy, entitled gamer jerks, just ignore them. They want attention. Don't give them the attention.
Don't feed the trolls.
Mhm.
All right. We have time for one more question, if any of you have a question. All right, Aiden. Going off what I've seen some games, or I've seen some games blow up because of the controversies related to them. Ooh, is it worth utilizing controversy, or is it better to avoid it?
I mean, it depends on the controversy. So I'm going to use Cult of the Lamb as an example here. They did a marketing beat where they said, if we get X number of likes on Twitter, we'll add sex to our game. And that was like, people are like, ooh, okay. There was like some back and forth of like, oh, this is great, or like, oh, this is a terrible idea. And it took off. Like, it worked really well for them. They really just like dove into that controversial kind of like adding sex to a game thing. But as a general rule of thumb, I would recommend not, relying on controversy as a marketing method, especially just with the online landscape of consumers, gamers. There's a lot of strong opinions and loud opinions, no matter how wrong they are, and you don't want drama around your game. But yeah, the Cult of the Lamb, I think they pulled that off because they already had they were successful. They already had like a large engaged community, so like they're very, because other games after they did that, other games tried doing the whole, oh, we'll add sex to our game too, and it didn't work so well for those games. So Yeah, I like to avoid controversy just as a rule of thumb. As a public relations person, I'm usually the person that writes those statements you see on social media saying, sorry, our studio head is a jerk. Well, like I write those. I don't like writing those. Don't give your marketing person a reason to have to write one of those, please.
Lord, yeah, fair enough. I can see how that can have some unintended consequences. And as someone pointed out in the chat, just imagine the legacy of it all and having a controversies in your Wikipedia entry. Yeah, you probably want to avoid that unless you really know what you're doing, such in the case of Cult of the Lamb. Look, we've sort of come to the natural conclusion of our 2025 IGEA Educate Summit. I really wanted to thank all the speakers, in particular, Kate, for this amazing presentation. The presentation, the resource, it's greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for coming along and making yourself available. It's really greatly appreciated.